You can hear me, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. So my name is Giselle Towe. I'm a real estate agent with KW Empower, and I've been in the industry for about 14 years. I have a background in finance and in human resources as well.
Thank you, Giselle, and welcome. And my friend Isabel.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm Isabel Koulibaly. I am the founder and CEO of a nonprofit corporation called Jiggy. Jiggy basically means hope. And what we do is help individuals and businesses grow not only their assets, but also scale in terms of who they are as an organization or individual as a whole. We are located in Pennsylvania, but we do serve the tri-state area, meaning PA, Delaware, and New Jersey, and beyond.
Thank you, Isabel. Welcome. And my friend Casey.
Good evening, all. Hello. My name is Kelvin Carolina, and KC is my nickname. So, KC Carolina with Citadel Federal Credit Union. I've been with the credit union for close to 9 years. We've been in business for 88 years as a credit union, and we service the 5 counties of Delaware Valley and also Lancaster County. So if a person lives, works, worships, attends school, or does business in any one of those counties, they can join us for $5. And my newly appointed specialty is now mortgages, where I've been assigned with the task of helping people to become homeowners in Philadelphia County that are moving into a Black or Hispanic community. And if they're moving into any one of those targeted communities, we can provide them with a grant up to $18,000. So we can provide the first mortgage and provide a grant that can be used for closing costs and also some down payment assistance. And I'm excited about the opportunity. I've been in banking all my life since I was 48 years now. And I did mortgages before. I did 10 years of mortgages, and I'm now back to help people become homeowners, because that's the beginning step to creating wealth for your family, for generations to come.
Awesome. Thank you, Casey. I'm excited about this because at the end of the event tonight, we can start the process of becoming homeowners. At least I will be anyway. And I know I need some credit support, Isabel. So you and I are going to be tight. Okay, so without further ado, allow me to share my screen and I'm going to start. I won't ask you guys to stand, but we're going to listen to the Caribbean anthem.
From many distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, till our hearts beat as one. Celebrating song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound of victory drums for Caracom. Though creed and diverse be our ethnicities, the bonds that unite us are stronger than these. voices high, sing of your courage, your pride. Sing it loud and strong, till our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song, as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum, oh, Kyrie come. Hele, hele, wabo, opa you sing karigo. Lebe, lebe, wow, naki you drum karigo. Sabo ya sabu wawo, opa you sing karigo. Lebe, lebe, wow. Raise your voices high, sing your courage, your pride. Sing it loud and strong, till our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song, as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum, oh, Caracon, hele, hele, wabo, oh, for your sting, Caracon, lebe, lebe, wow, hele, hele, sabo, ya, sabo, awo, naki, yo, jum, Caracon, lebe, lebe, wow.
I love that song. Thanks for engaging me. All right, so now we're here. We have a few new attendees joining us. Thanks for joining us today. We get right into our presentation. Just a moment while I get my screen up here. Isabel, I'm going to get you prepared to start sharing. Let me make you host. Isabel, where are you? You are here.
Here I am.
Okay, make host, co-host, so you can share. All right, so we're going to get right into a presentation. We're going to hear from Isabel about how we can become qualified to buy and own a home.
Awesome. All right. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So again, thank you everyone for joining today. And Teresa, I'm certainly grateful for this moment. I think we were spoken about way to collaborate, so I'm pretty excited. Hopefully it's the first of many. And I also want to thank Giselle and Casey for joining as well, and also making this time available for all of us. Now, just a little bit about myself again. I'm Isabel, and as I said earlier, I'm the president and CEO of Jiggy Corporation, and we do help folks with anything related to credit. And I also pride myself in assisting our immigrant community, understanding what it means to know about financial literacy, financial growth, and learn about all the opportunities that exist here. Once an international student many years ago, to now being in the position that I am, I think I can better serve our community if I can not only share my journey, but also walk them through a great path that can help and empower them. So I always like to share a couple of fun facts about what I love. And two things that I love the most is reading. I love to read. And I'm also very passionate about traveling and discovering new places. So that's a little bit of background information about me and what I like to do. Now, on to why we're here today. Teresa, you've made a fair introduction about understanding about the fact that part of what we're here is to learn about credit, especially as it pertains to home ownership. And also being a first-time home buyer is certainly one of the biggest milestones in your entire life. So I think it's important to be empowered and basically take charge of your credit and whatever that goes around your credit so you can achieve the dream of being a homeowner. Now, some questions to get started. I like to always start with some background reason on why certain things. And in terms of credit, it's important to ask the question of what exactly is a credit? why credit is so important, why does having a good credit matter, why is it important to maintain a good credit, and what's considered a great credit score. I think not only the answer to these questions will help us understand a little more about credit and what they are and how important they are, but also learn to put ourselves in a position where we not only work on our credit, but also maintain a good one in the future. Now, there are two definitions of credit that I often like to give. And the first one is the amount of money a financial institution has agreed to let you borrow with the agreement to make payment on terms set by that institution during the application process. And the second one is basically your credit history. So the first one being the amount of you can borrow can pertain to homes, the purchase of a vehicle, credit cards, or anything that technically is not your money you put up front, but the bank's money up front. The second one is your credit history. So your credit history has everything that has to do with.
Hi, I think I might be early. I got off from work early. This is what delinquent for pay. I think it's 5.
Say that again.
No, she wasn't talking to us.
Oh, okay. All right. So, and the second one is the borrowing reputation. Usually anything within your credit, whether your repayment history, what you've applied for before, whether through mortgages, loans, and other type of lending products, is usually what your credit is also. Now, what are the type of credit? To better understand what credits are, it's important to also review what type of credit exists. And we have two types, secured one and unsecured one. So usually a secure one is a debt that is guaranteed by a collateral. So collateral can be cash, but in for the sake of what we're doing, collateral can also be a home. If you borrow money to purchase a house, the bank would give you the money. However, should anyone default on their loan payment or mortgage payment, the bank has the power to take the money, repossess the house, sell it, and secure the debt. So that's a form of secure credit. Now, an unsecured one, the most common ones we see in terms of unsecured credit are basically credit card, where the bank can give you a certain amount of money to use, and it's not backed by any collateral. So if the bank let you have a card that has 20, 30, or sometimes 50,000 on a card, which is not unlikely. However, it's not backed by any collateral. So it's a little bit on a higher risk, but those are the two types of credit that we usually see. Now, when we talk about a type of credit, we define also the type of credit that exists. What really makes a credit so important is that it's a combination of 5 different, what we call C's, 5 different C's. And those C's are character, capacity, capital, collateral, and conditions. These C's are what's a lender use to evaluate your credit worthiness. And to evaluate your credit worthiness, they're going to look at your character, which refer to your credit history. How likely are you to repay if you borrow money? The capacity is also the ability to repay any debt. So that's in terms of income, such as if you have a job or if you have any other type of capital, which goes in the third one. Are you able to repay? So your capacity and capital kind of work hands in hands. And if you look at the collateral, we just talk about a home ownership. If you own a home, is that collateral enough for you to repay your debt? So, and the last one is a condition, which refer to the reason why you're borrowing. Is it for something reckless or is it for something worthy? So the combination of these 5 C's are what lender usually look at when they evaluate your credit worthiness. Now, for somebody to have a fair chance in how well they're evaluated in the lending process, I always talk about a credit portfolio. Why a credit portfolio is important? Because it shows a lender that you are able to handle more than one type of debt. We have people who might walk in a bank and just ask for $300,000 or $400,000 to buy a home. if you've only managed a credit card worth only $300 or $1,000, it might not tell the lender a lot. But if you have credit card, car loan or personal loan, line of credit, you could even have student loan or some type of home equity if you've ever become a homeowner. A combination of all these, or at least two or three in this category here in your credit portfolio, tells the lender that you are able to handle more than one type of debt. And that's a positive sign on your credit. Because again, we are being evaluated on the trustworthiness based on the 5 C's that I just shared with you. So basically, the bank or any financial institution in charge of your credit portfolio would like to see that, and it kind of puts you in a good position. And that credit portfolio usually occupy 10% of your credit score. So the more diverse credit portfolio you have, the better your chances to have more trustworthiness with lender. Now, there are some factors that's worth reviewing as well. We just looked at the credit portfolio, and credit portfolios are really important. But also, what makes a credit portfolio even more enticing in the eyes of a lender is your payment history, your credit utilization, the account age, so how the length of your credit history, new account, hard inquiry, and a mixed type of credit usage, which is your payment history, amount owed, length, and your credit. So all of these factors play a role in what it means it plays a role in your credit. Because your payment history, if you have a good payment history, it takes 35% of your credit. So assuming you don't pay on time, it's going to affect you. Your utilization, usually 30% is a recommendation on your utilization. Now, the average and length of credit history is also very important, because if you've opened a credit account a month ago and you go to the bank wanting to borrow, they don't have enough history on you to want to let you borrow a substantial amount, or you may not have the type of good interest you're looking for, even though you have a credit card. So your history is really, really important. Now, hard inquiry and new account. My suggestion back in the days when I was in the bank, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Same goes with credit cards or credit history. When you want to build a good history, it's good to have a mixture of different type of credit. However, it's not recommended opening too many accounts at once, or it's not also recommended to have open too many accounts at the same time. You could have a good credit portfolio of different type of credit during a period of 3, 4, even 10 years. However, if you decide that you want to perhaps buy a home, and now you want to buy couches, you want to buy new furniture, or you want to buy appliances, and you go to different stores to get all of those on a credit, it's not going to look good, because all of a sudden it trigger your credit history, as in a way that you may not have enough cash, so that itself can affect you. So having too many new accounts, which also leads most of the time to hard inquiry, plays a role. It's 10%, but it's not a good look on your credit. Now, so these are some of the factors that affect the scoring system. And here's how the FICO scoring system looks like. Anything below 620 is usually really poor. So my recommendation for the average person is always rank between 670 and 799 if you can. It's not always likely, and life happens, situations happen, but as much as you can, always be either in the middle or a little bit above the middle area, which is 740 and 799. That's usually my recommendations. Now, I hope you've understood a little bit about what credits are, what factor goes in your credit, why it's important to have a good credit and a scoring system. Now, related to home ownership, the value of credit in home ownership is very substantial. As I said earlier, home ownership is going to be by far one of the biggest investment in your entire life. When I say biggest investment, it doesn't mean that you will not make other investment, but it means it's worth looking at much, much closely. Being able to afford a home, even if you have a good credit, is really important. So now, before I move forward, I want you to take just a quick moment to self-reflect and evaluate your spending priority. You can do this, think about it now, but I strongly encourage you or anyone looking to purchase a home, at least within this year, to assess your financial landscape and identify what's essential and what's non-essential, and also make conscious spending decisions. The reason I believe these three are important: your financial landscape is what's going to help you not only be able to buy a home. It's easy to have a good credit to purchase a home, but after you become a homeowner, your credit becomes as important, because being able to afford a home also play a huge role. So assessing your financial landscape will help you understand exactly what you can afford, what you're capable to accomplish within your financial mean, using your income and other source of income you may have aside from work, and also identify what's essential for you, urgent and non-urgent. In terms of urgent and non-urgent, it means what's a necessity and what's some things that are still good for you or still a priority, but can be negotiated based on your income. Also, make conscious spending decisions that are aligned with your long-term financial goals. I usually stress the third ones a lot because we have a tendency sometimes something works out, especially when you want to buy a home. You have a home, you fix your credit, you get a home. Now you believe you can get everything else in credit. So when you make those decisions, it might help you get everything you want in the now, but it might end up hurting you long-term wise. So it's always important to make sure you assess based on these three areas that I just mentioned. We do have a great resources on our website, and you can always go on and look it up. I'm not going to click on it now, but if you like, I'm also going to drop the link once I'm done with this presentation. Now, how your credit affect your mortgage rate and your credit score affect the mortgage interest. Basically, the lower your score, the higher your interest rate. And the higher your score, the more your opportunities in terms of having a home that's not going to cost you as much. Because the major cost, you might think about a $200,000 home. That that may be within your budget. However, when you have a good credit score, you might end up having a 4% versus 5%. And that 1% that you may not be paying attention to can end up causing you hundreds of dollars in terms of repayment. So it's always important to make sure your credit score is good enough, not just in terms of the number, but also your credit portfolio, as we looked earlier, all works together to put you in a great position to have a good interest rate when you want to become a homeowner. Now, here are some of the issues that arise that can basically affect our credit. One thing I've mentioned before is credit payment. If you have a credit that where you miss out on the payment or you are late on the payment, that shows negatively on your credit report. Early on, when I said make sure you have having a credit where your payment is intact or your credit history matter, a payment is a great indication of what you can afford and what you can't afford. So making sure your payments are done on time is great, because if you don't, it affects your credit. And usually missed payments or late payment, once it's reported, lasts on your credit for a very long time. Also, overutilizing credit limits on cards. Usually when we have credit card, we know it's not our money, but we know it's money we can use. So therefore, it's easy to just put transactions on it. So one of my gold recommendation is never spend money you don't have. But if you're going to use spending, make sure it's money you can pay back. And when I said make sure your utilization ratio stay below 30%, because anything beyond 30% start to show red flag in your credit profile. So you want to stay within the 30%, because if it goes higher, assuming you have more than one type of credit, it does add up. And when it does add up, it affects your credit negatively. And now closing old credit account. Now, a lot of people might have begun to have credit history early on. However, because of situations in their own lifestyle or things that may have happened, especially unforeseen event, can affect their credit history. And when that happens, sometimes will trigger to close old account because it doesn't help at the time, but it's always recommended to keep your old account. Like I said earlier, the longer your credit history, the better it is for you, because it shows the lender that you have been able to handle credit for a very long time. So it's important to make sure that you keep your account open as long as you can. So it doesn't mean you have to spend regularly on it, but once in a while, spending on your credit card that you've had open 10 years ago is always good. So make sure you can keep your account open. Also, falling for predatory lending or quick fixes. It's so common for us to look for short fixes, especially when we have desperate time. There's a saying that goes, desperate time call for desperate measure. It works in some area, but not in the area of credit. Because if you make any attempt to make quick fixes or any attempt to fix your credit as fast as you can, it can always affect you. And here is a personal story. Years ago, this was the first time I got here back in 2006. I went to the bank and I was given a credit card. So little did I know, you're an immigrant, you go to school, you get a credit card to make payments, and I have friends telling me what it does, but not understanding what it really meant. I went ahead and make purchases. And I did not understand that making purchases also meant that I needed to pay. And I would be watching TV, hearing car salesmen on TV, commercials on TV saying good credit, bad credit is okay. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't have to pay this if I don't have the money. And I was literally arguing with the blender on the phone because I have to make the payment. Long story short, it affected my credit so much, went on my credit. And when I went to get a phone, they looked to my credit history and told me I could not get a phone and I needed to make a deposit. That hurt me so bad. And 2-3 years later, I decided to hire a company to fix my credit. And believe it or not, my credit was fixed. Only for about a year later, everything that I spent money on was just voided because everything came back on my credit. So I called to dispute. And the lender at the time, the company that owned the credit at the time explained to me that whoever bought the credit do not have the credit, my credit anymore. They have it. So as long as it's not paid, it's going to remain on there. So it not only made me pay so much money for nothing, but it was a quick fix that ended up costing me. In one day, I think I lost 96 points on my credit. That was one of the hurtful moments. And I think it's from that reason that I decided to not only invest myself in credit, understanding what credits are and understanding the value of them. So anything that tells you about short fixes, believe it, when it comes to credit, take all the time you need, because it's not anything that can be fixed in a short time. Now, what are some of the steps to repair your credit? If you have a good credit, that's wonderful. But if you've had life happen to you or situation happen, or in my case, was not as knowledgeable about how credit function and end up finding yourself in a unforeseen position, the first thing that I recommend is to obtain your credit report. Once a year, you are entitled to a free credit report. You can get that and see what's on your credit. And nowadays, app like Credit Karma, which I've used plenty of time with individuals and my clients, is also free. It actually shows you not only your credit report from our credit bureau, it's usually accurate and gives you your credit score as well. You can look for error, you can dispute inaccuracy, but in the event, just like mine, if you actually have item you owe, One other thing is never admit to debt, but always look for solution. One of the solution is repayment, and you can discuss the method that can work more for you. There are some people are okay with making highest interest credit card and loan payment first because they want to get rid of their debt as fast as they can so they can move forward. There are others who are more okay with paying the smallest one. Usually the top one, the paying the highest interest credit or loan first is what we call the avalanche method. So you want to go from the highest credit to the lowest. So as you make your payment, you pay fast, you end up paying less, and you're done. It's fast and it's efficient. However, if you want to feel like you want to feel rewarded, you want to make smallest payment and see a method that's called what we call the snowball method. You can still opt for that. You still pay your credit, but you go from the smallest to the highest one. So either way, it's all about your comfort level, but always negotiate. Do not admit to it. Call the credit company if you see any credit, any that you believe you owe, and discuss repayment option, discuss settlement, and make sure you get a letter once your credit is paid. So you have that letter with you. You can personally send it to the credit bureau because once your debt is paid in full, some company will close it out and it will not be showing anymore on your credit report, but other will maintain it. And it's your responsibility to call Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, show them a proof of payments in full or settlement in full, and usually within 30 days, you'll be wiped off from your credit, which is good because it gives you a clean slate. Now, establishing a budget. So building a repayment plan to avoid missed payment. This is very important because, as I said earlier, when you understand your financial landscape, it allows you to know exactly how much money you have, how much you can afford, and how you can budget yourself. And when it comes time to pay for your credit, for your debt, it's important to make sure that you have enough in your income to set aside for your debt repayment. Because if you miss on a payment, it goes back to square one. And rule of thumb is new line of credit application must really be avoided when you are repairing your credit. If you see that your credit is looking good, do not try to make new card application, and always maintain your credit account in good standing. Now, if you feel like all of these could be a hassle and sometimes might definitely require some background research and knowledge, we also offer credit counseling, and we can also advise you if you do need that assistance. And there are also other credit agency, but you have to make sure you vet them so they're not just giving you quick fixes and can actually make you help you fix your credit and also coach you on how to have a good credit from that point forth. Now, to become a homeowner, how does having a good credit help you with a good mortgage opportunity? Because the higher your credit score, the easier it is to get pre-approval. Once you pre-approve, it helps speed up the process of the approval process. So make sure as you work on your credit to keep that in mind. And also you get the lowest interest rate for your mortgage, and the better your interest, the higher your saving. So whether you decide on a 15 or 30-year mortgage, once you have a good credit, it helps you also get the best interest rate when you negotiate for your mortgage. Also, for first-time home buyer, Mr. Casey mentioned that he's been with the bank for 48 years. I'm pretty sure he can vouch that having a good credit as a first-time home buyer also open doors for a lot of incentives. So always make sure you have you manage your credit well so you can open up enough opportunities for yourself. Now, building a credit while preparing for homeownership, what are some of the steps? We just review a whole lot of information, but I tell my recommendation is to make sure you stay consistent, build a good habit around your credit, pay your bill on time, and use secure credit card or low-risk installment loans to enhance your score. Low-risk installment loan would allow you can still make your payments on time, but also help you build your credit at the same time. And also maintain a steady income and stable credit utilization. Because when you have a steady incomes and prep yourself to become a homeowner, it opens up ample of opportunities. So you make sure you do that. It would help substantially. Step-by-step checklist for improving your credit. That's always a good thing, a good rule of thumb as well, especially if you don't have one, if you're working to improve your credit score. And one of those things to do that is credit monitoring app. App like Credit Karma can help you. They gives you tip. They have smaller recommendation of what you can do, some do's and don'ts. And our resources tab and our membership can definitely help you as well if you do need that. Now, here are my 4-word best practices I give. Establish a credit history and build it early on. And when you do that, make sure you stay within the 30% of credit limits, no more than that. And to make that easy, to make sure you stay within the 30%. If you have a credit card, just go do your grocery shopping. Focus using the card on what you need versus what you want. Grocery shoppings are items we need. Even car insurance payment are things we need. So anything that you know are of a necessity to you, make sure you put those on your credit so you can make your payments and make your payments on time, and it would not cause you to go the extra mile to make payments. And only get into debt when needed. Only getting in debt when needed helps you keeping your debt utilization on a low end side because it comes with a need. So that need is something you must be able to suffice. So when you get in debt only when you need, it saves you a whole lot of hassle. Now, adverse credit and poor credit. So being too close to using your full balance can report negatively on your credit. We talk about income. Sometimes I've seen individual just saying that having a credit is not a bad thing. I mean, using up the limit on your credit is not a bad thing as long as you can pay. And I tell them that it's the absolutely not things not to ever do. Because when you use everything on your credit, it's not your money, it's a bank's money. It shows landlord that you rely on that money to make your payments. So when you use close to the limits, it shows an adverse credit. So basically, it would affect your credit history negatively and would hurt your credit score. So as long as you remain within the 30%, that's something you can definitely avoid. And make your payment on time and make sure you can pay your balance in full. As I said just earlier, if you are able to make your payment on time and also focus on using your card for things of needs such as rent, groceries, gas, you would not have any issues making your payments, and chances are you might be able to make your payment in full as well. So that's it for me. I'd like to thank you for the time. And if you want to get in touch with me, here's our contact information and the email, and I'll be more than happy to share more insight with you. So thank you again.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you. I know I need help now. Lots of help.
Isabel, can you put your screen back, your contact information back up again?
We're going to share the
Go
slides.
share it. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank
Oh,
you.
no, that's okay. We're going to share the slides. Thank you, Isabel. Right now, we're going to get into now that we know we either have the money or we don't have the money. And what we need to do if we don't have the money, we're going to now go and talk to our real estate agent. So I'd like to invite Giselle Toe to the stage. Giselle, are you going to be sharing? Yes? Okay, let me give you permission. Giselle. Okay. All right, Giselle, you're all set to go. Please save your questions for the end, and at the end we'll share the slides with all of you. You're muted, Giselle. Bottom left corner.
Can you see
Got
my
it.
screen
Yes,
now?
yes.
Okay. So, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for being here. For those who don't know me, my name is Giselle Towe. I'm going to apologize for my name, my voice. I'm under the weather since yesterday. I went to Harrisburg for a meeting and it went down from
Oh,
here. All right. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you some information about the journey to get your first home. Like we talked earlier, I have 14 years of experience in real estate. I worked previously with Century 21, then I worked with Diallo Real Estate. I have a background in human resources as well as in finance. So my passion is building meaningful relationship with people, delivering exceptional customer service, and helping people achieve their dream through real estate. So I've been working with Keller W, and we are in throughout America and in the whole wide world, because we are in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Asia, in Europe. So everywhere where you go, you will find a Keller W office. So to serve you better, this is my designation and certification. I'm part of the Greater Philadelphia Association of Realtor, and I took some classes just to serve buyers. I'm accredited buyer representative. I also serve military relocation as well as a short sale and foreclosure specialist. I'm part of the Women Council of Realtor and the Philadelphia Metropolitan Board of Realtors, as well as the Multiple Listing Service. We have our location on Walnut Street, on Broad Street, on Frankfurt, and on Conshohocken. So enough about me. We are here for you today, and we should be excited. So I'm going to ask you something. And Mike and said, we are resilient. We need to do this exercise, because if you guys are here today, it's because you are resilient. Go ahead and repeat after me. We are resilient.
we are
We are
resilient.
resilient.
And why
Woohoo!
am I doing that? Because you know of the atmosphere, the political atmosphere today. People are living in fear. And that shouldn't let you guys disturb you or do anything. Stay focused on your goal, is to get a house. All this is noises. So don't worry about it. Stay focused on your goal to get a house, and you will get a house. You will build generational wealth. So these are the 10 steps of buying a house that I have here for you. And I will send you in your email as well at the end of the presentation. So once I meet with you, the first thing that I would need is to understand your need. And I will meet you in one of our offices that I talked about previously, or at Dunkin' Donut, at a cafe, or I will come to your house, depending on what is your preference. So I will try to understand your need. That means, what is your ideal home looks like? What is a deal breaker for you? Because some people want 5-bedroom because they have kids. The neighborhood. What is your biggest worry or question about the process? What is your budget, and I will also check to see if you're pre-approved. Because some people go into a bank, they said, I need a pre-approval because I want to buy a house. They get a pre-approval. But I think that the first thing that you need to do is to look for a real estate agent. Of course, you need to have some saving because we all know that 3.5% is the down payment to get a house. So the first thing is to start getting some savings. And like Isabel said earlier, saving is important because your goal is buying a house. That means that you need to start saving. Then the second thing is go look for your real estate. You need to have a good real estate agent. Why a good real estate agent? Because the real estate agent is the center of everything. If you come to me and we check your credit, you don't have a good credit, I send you to Isabel. If you come to me, you do not have a pre-approval, I send you to Casey because I work closely with these people. And working closely with your team allow us to have a smooth process in getting a house. And we work with a lot of lenders, a lot of credit repair people, but definitely when you come to your real estate agent, she referred you. So when she refers you, it's better because they're gonna say, okay, oh, Giselle sent someone to Isabel or to Casey. Casey is gonna take good care of you. So once you go to Casey, it's gonna try to approve you. And you need to know your budget. It's gonna help you with that. Because sometimes when you go to Casey, he can, let's say he can pre-approve you for 500,000, but you only want to spend 200,000. You don't have to spend the whole 500,000. So you need to be able to go and express this to Casey, what you want. And by discussing with me as well, I can help you talk to Casey. So when you get pre-approved, this is where the fun begins. As a member of the multiple listing services, I have access of every single home that comes in the market every morning, Monday to Friday. So what I will do, I will go in the system and I will personalize search. I will put some search on the database saying that, okay, this is this one that this person wants. So every morning, if a house comes on the market and it fits what you want, you will get it in your email. You do have the option to go also on Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, and browse. If you find a good home that you want and it is within your budget, you can send it to me, the address, and I can go ahead and schedule a private showing for you. So once we found the house, we're gonna craft you an offer. And we're gonna craft you the offer based on the market condition. Why am I saying that it's based on the market condition? Because when we have a lot of house on the market, it is a buyer market. When we have less houses on the market, it is a seller market. So depending on the market condition, we will know how to craft the offer for you to get the house. And with your offer, you will have to write a check of $1,000 or a $5,000. And this check will show the seller that you are serious about getting the house. So this amount is called the earnest money deposit. Once you write this check, I will send it with the offer and it will be put in escrow by the title company. It will stay there until closing. And this money will go toward your cash to close. So why do you need, again, a good real estate agent? Deadline matters. Remember that buying a house, we do have some crucial deadline to respect. And missing this deadline can, maybe you can have a house that you do not like because you miss this deadline. For example, I'm gonna talk about the inspection. The inspection need to be done within 7 to 10 business days. And then we receive the report. We have to review the report, and if we have repairs, we can send it to the seller to say, we don't want this, we don't want that, can you repair it or give us a credit? So all these need to be done in a certain period of time. And if you don't know or you do not have a good agent, you can miss all these deadlines. So it is very crucial for you to have a very good agent. You have to remember that you need some upfront costs. Why upfront cost? Because you remember about the earnest money deposit, you need to have it in your account. You also have to pay for inspection, termite, radon, appraisal. So all these are money that, is the money that you need to have in your account, at least to show the bank that I saved money, I'm trying. Even if we have grants, Casey is gonna give you up to 80,000 or 20,000 or whatever his bank is giving. I'm gonna go out on the market. We do have, agency that give out money to see what you can get if you are qualified to get. So we're gonna try to see as a team what we can give you. And you see, there is a new regulation here that requires the buyer to pay their real estate agent commission directly if the seller doesn't do it. So that means that you need to take this in consideration. You need to have this money in your account. It can be 3%, it can be 4%, it can be 1%, it doesn't matter. But you need to think about it, talk about it with your real estate agent, and make sure that you have this in your saving account. So the bank will ask you to pay for appraisal. Why are we going to pay for appraisal? We're going to pay for appraisal because the bank doesn't want you to pay for a price, to pay more than the value of the house. So they're going to send an appraiser and make sure that the cost of the house is the cost of the house. If it's 200,000 and the seller is putting it at 250, the bank is only going to give you 200,000. The difference, if you really want the house and the seller doesn't want to reduce the price of the house, you will have to bring the difference out of pocket. The bank is not going to give you the $50,000. So that means that we're going to move, we're going to walk away or ask for the buyer reduce it, or you're going to bring the money out of pocket. So you have to, that means that the bank is also looking out for you. You have to think that the bank, the realtor, the bankers, and the credit repairs, everybody is on your team. We are all behind you. And once you are being approved by the bank, then we're just gonna walk and do the closing with everything, all the grants that you can have, and then you can move in your house. So this is in a nutshell, my job is to make sure that the team is behind you, make the process smoother. We also have the home buyer, first-time home buyer checklist, and I will send this one in your email. You can always have it with you, and that can help. If you have any question, do not hesitate to call me. I have buyers that work night, buyers that work during the day, so I am always available for your question. My phone number is here, so you can text me, you can call me, you can email me if you have any question. And like I said, the real estate agent is there for you. So thank you again for giving me this opportunity. I'm not gonna be long because it's already 7 o'clock. We promise to keep you only until 7:30. So thank you again.
Thank you, Giselle. That was short and sweet, and it's getting me even more excited. Now we're going to talk to the money man. I got my credit in good order. I found my house. Now let's get this closing done, Casey.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Teresa, for allowing me to have this opportunity. I'm excited about everything that I heard because Isabel, Giselle, you're all on point as to the advice you gave. And one of the things that's stopping a lot of people from not being able to buy a house is that they haven't saved money, right? I mean, it's one thing to start spending, but you need to save some money because when you come to the bank, the one thing we're looking at is your assets. How much do you have to contribute towards the deal? So let me back up a little bit. My name's Kelvin Carolina. I go by KC, which are my initials. I've been with Citadel now, March will be 9 years. I've actually been in the financial arena for 48 years. I started when I was 21. I just hit 70, and I'm just as excited now as I was when I was a young kid because now I have the opportunity to provide grant money through Citadel to folks who are looking to buy homes in Philadelphia County. And if they're moving into a majority minority community, we can provide them with a grant up to $18,000. Citadel has been around for 88 years, and our field of membership is the 5 counties of Delaware Valley, which is Philadelphia, Delaware, Montgomery County, Chester County, and Bucks, and also Lancaster County. Now, if you live, work, worship, attend school, or do business in any one of those counties, you can join us for $5. As to the mortgage process, I just was appointed recently. They created this new position called Community Lending Officer. They want to put more mortgage money in Philadelphia because over the years, we have not had any branches in Philadelphia County. So we're going to be building 3 branches in Philadelphia within the next 3 years. But I work remotely. We have 24 branches. Some of you might have been familiar with seeing the branch. Some of you might have already have, a relationship with us. So in terms of the process, for anybody who's interested in purchasing a home, one, you have to have that realtor relationship. You should know that your credit is acceptable. And if your credit is not acceptable, then that's when you want to work with Isabella to have her help you to improve your credit. Now, once you've identified your realtor and the price range, like give you an example, think about the amount of money that you're paying now for rent and or for mortgage. So early on tonight, the conversation circled around having a mortgage for about $200,000. A $200,000 mortgage today is going to cost you $1,280. That's just for the mortgage. It has nothing to do with your taxes. It has nothing to do with your homeowners association if you have it, and the insurance on the house itself. So that's $1,280 just on a 30-year mortgage at 6.625. Now, our interest rates come out every day around 10:30. So every day I get a new rate sheet as to our mortgages. We have 30, 20, 10, and 15-year mortgages. If a person is already a homeowner and they wanted to have a home equity loan, we have home equity loans. Isabel, you spoke about credit and not having extremely high usage of your credit usage. Citadel just recently came out with a balance transfer promotion. Like none of our credit cards are more than 17.99%. So if a person has a credit card that's more than that, they might want to consider talking to me later about how can they get their credit at a lower rate, a credit card at a lower rate. But for the next 9 months, if you do a balance transfer, that's going to be 3.99%. So now I've diverted a little bit from the mortgage industry. A lot of times we have a grant program available. We also know of other programs within the city of Philadelphia that can help people with grant money. Give an example. The city of Philadelphia has a program through the Philadelphia Housing Development Corporation. It's actually a second mortgage, but it can help with second mortgages from $50,000, $60,000, or $75,000. So any other mortgage grant or assistance program that you come across can be coupled with or stacked with the Citadel money. So now you can start out with looking at a home for $250,000, $300,000, but by the time you put all these other programs together, it'll be much less. Um, it's also important to know what you're looking for. Um, Example, Giselle mentioned, whether you want to be on a quiet street, you want a basement, there are certain things that I think people call a must have. Like, you need to have 3 bedrooms, you have 2 bedrooms. If you have a 2 bedroom house, that's good for a starter if you're a single person, but it's not good for, say, a family. So, at some point you might want to sell the house and you're going to limit yourself by just having that 2 bedroom. So if you can afford to have a 3 bedroom, then that will be better for you down the road. I just heard a report this morning. They said that people tend to move every 7 to 10 years. Sometimes it's just good to be able to get into the house and then you stay there as long as you need to stay there. But that's the beginning of developing wealth for yourself, because when you think about appreciation, real estate will appreciate much faster than you can save. I was fortunate to have a father who, at the time, I didn't appreciate it, but he made me save my money. So if I made $100, I had to save $33, and I had to give a third to the house to help take care of the household. But by the time I reached 21, I was able to buy my first home. So as a young kid at 15 years old, I thought my father was just, managing my money and taking my money away, but he made me save my money. My grandmother saw that I wanted to go to this candy store every day and buy some bubble gum or something, so she bought me a bubble gum machine. So I would put my pennies in the bubble gum machine. At the end of the day, I had my bubble gum, and when the machine was filled, um, they would take that money and put it in the bank. So I can honestly say I've had a bank account since I was 5 years old. The point about using your credit, sometimes people have saved money in their house. I've talked to a family last week, and they had, I don't know, $30,000, $40,000 in the house. When it's time to buy a house, you have to be able to show documented evidence that your money is in a secure place, meaning a bank. It cannot be in, the coffee can in the kitchen. It can't be under the mattress. It needs to be documented. So if you're sitting on some cash that you haven't put in the bank yet, you should put it in the bank, because you need to have about 2 months worth of bank statements. Your financial statements be bank statements, 401k statements, any type of investment that you have, because that shows your capability of having a reserve to take care of paying for your mortgage and your taxes down the road. One of the worst things a person can do is, be house rich and dollar poor. You don't want to get into a house that you can't afford. You can always move up over time, but you don't want to start out biting off more than you can chew, and then you cannot afford to be there. A lot of times with couples, you're looking at both the incomes. It's always good, I think, and it's just my personal opinion, if you can look at maybe one and a half of the incomes, because sometime along the way, one of the two of you might get laid off, and you want to be able to still be in that house even if the income is cut down. So to me, I think that's a good way to try to project into the future. Now, if you got solid employment, you're not worried about the possibility of layoffs, then that's good. But sometimes these things happen. And I just talked to a gentleman the other day. He was married, just got married, just came back from his honeymoon and walked in the office, and he was working remotely and found out that he got laid off. So now he's starting his marriage with one income being depleted. So that's important to try to, see where your income is. A lot of times people don't talk about their credit, but if you're going to buy a house with another person, it's important to find out what's their capability in terms of making payments. Do they make their payments on time? Some people don't want to make payments on time. As I was looking and listening to Isabella, I decided to go to the Federal Trade Commission.gov to look at my credit history. And some of my accounts go back about 13 or 14 years. But in terms of in terms of actual payments, there's only been one time that I was late on something in the last 2 years. So when we're looking at a mortgage application, we're looking at your history for the last 4 to 7 years, and we want to see how many times have you been late, whether it was 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. A lot of times the person might have an educational loan and you're in deferment. So at some point, we're going to ask you to, if you're not making any payments because you're in deferment, we're going to ask you to provide us with confirmation of the deferment process. When does it end? And all income is acceptable. So whether you're working a job or you have a pension, you have Social Security, all those forms of income can help towards your debt to income ratio. Your ratios basically should be around 43%. So when you look at your taxes and insurance, 43% of your income would be allocated towards your purchase of your house. If you're able to qualify for a FHA mortgage, we can look at 50%. So my job right now, I've been allocated about $6 million, and they want me to make people become homeowners or help people to become homeowners. So I'm excited about this opportunity to meet with everyone that's here tonight. I jumped the gun initially because I put my cell phone number, my email address, and the company's website in the chat. I'm a very public person. And as Teresa said, we met about 10 years ago, might be a little bit more than 10, but we travel in the same circles in terms of community and or politics. So when I told her what I was doing with Citadel, she said to me she wanted to have me be a part of that communication and conference. So that's all I want to say tonight, because I would like to have some time for us all to have questions if there are any questions. And I'm excited to be able to provide whatever assistance that I can provide you with. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. And now it's time for question and answers. Thank you all three very much. If you raise a hand, if you have a question.
I'm going to add something to what Casey said. In our community, he said we need to be able to trace the money. Basically, in our community, I know that they do something that they call susu. They put money together. I didn't know anything about the susu, but I had clients that said, no, I would have the 18,000 by closing. And then they didn't want to tell me that it was the susu. But they should have, because we do have the option to have a letter from the person that is gathering the money and give it to the bank. Or sometimes they do have they put the money in the bank ahead of time and we get a letter from the bank. But it was so difficult to close because we couldn't trace the money. And I was like, so you have all this, so you need to be able to be honest with the person that you are working with, because we're here to help you. We're not here against you. And sometimes people don't understand. They think that we want to be in their business. But it's not your business. We're helping you.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because one day I asked somebody how much did they pay for their house. And as a result of me being in banking for so long, I'm used to seeing people's tax returns, their financial statements, their pay stubs. So to me, there's nothing personal about the price of a house. And now you can actually go online, punch in somebody's address, and you can see how much the house sold for. So it's not really personal business. But the susu I became familiar with about 15 or 20 years ago. I've never had anyone that was trying to do a loan with it, but I am familiar with it.
My girlfriend in Connecticut bought her house with her susu money.
Okay.
Yes, it's out there and it does work. But Casey, I have a question for you. Do anyone have any questions? Raise your hand. My question for you, Casey, you asked for pay stubs and stuff like that. What happens for someone who is self-employed, they have their own business, so they don't get a paycheck, or they're an independent contractor? How do you work that? What's required of them?
One of the most important things is you have 2 years of consistent income. So if you're self-employed, then your tax returns must be provided. Now, one of the things that I've found that's hurting folks who are immigrants, sometimes they will go back home, wherever back home is, for a month or so, right?
Mhm.
And that interrupts the income stream.
Oh,
And just for that alone, I'm not able to approve a loan for them because they haven't had 2 years worth of solid work history. Even if you have a part-time job, you have to have that part-time job for a minimum of 2 years before we will count that towards your income.
hmm. Okay.
Because a lot of people will move around, like, sometimes people will stay on a job 6 months to 6 to 9 months, not a year, and they've had 4 or 5 different jobs in the last 2 or 3 years. I said, look, I need you to provide me with the chronological history of each and every job you had, the address, the position, and the amount of money you earned.
Okay.
And if a person is on like disability or let's say unemployment, I need that information to support. Okay, there was 6 months to a year that you were out of work, but you were collecting unemployment. The document from the government supports that, and then that qualifies you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Axel, you can go. Lower your hand and go with your question.
Hi, so I'm interested in buying a home, but I'm not pre-approved yet. Do I have to go to a specific bank to be pre-approved, or can I go to any bank?
I'm gonna give you some choices. You can go to the bank that you deal with now, or you can send me an email and mention the Caribbean conference tonight, and then I will contact you and send you the application for you to get pre-approved.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yes.
Casey, are you lending only in PA or in Jersey as well?
I can do PA, Jersey, Delaware. However, you need to first we have to justify your field of membership. So let's say you live in Jersey or Delaware, but you don't do any work in Pennsylvania or in Delaware Valley. So you need to then identify a family member, a real family member who lives in this original area that I mentioned, a field of membership, and you can have them join. And when I say join, I mean you can actually become a member of Citadel and open up an account with $55 and just once a year put $5 in the account. You don't have to worry about any monthly fees or what have you, as long as you do online banking. Now, if you wanted to set up a direct deposit of at least $2,000 that's spread out over the first 90 days, we'll give you $200 in cash. But for a person who's looking to do a mortgage and they live in a different state, then yes, we should have you become a member first, and then we can see about getting the mortgage for you.
Okay, Casey, I'm not sure if I told, but me and everybody in here are cousins. I'm just letting you know.
Hey, listen, we're all cousins, and it's funny because my wife and I always say that we're in the same zip code.
That's why we're all cousins. Just letting you all
Hmm.
know we're cousins. All right, Isabel, I have a question for you. When it comes to credit repair, you said you mentioned that it's not a quick fix. Um, and I've come across where people have paid money, like monthly deductions. They're being told that this is how much you need to pay us. No, don't contact the lenders anymore. If they call you, don't answer the phone. As a matter of fact, we'll get you a Gmail phone number. So you give them that phone number, they call you, it goes to voicemail. You don't have to return their calls or anything. How legit are those resolutions?
I share with you my personal example. I've used them, it worked. But then, so what happened is when you uh hire somebody to help you fix your credit and they take that hassle from you, you're excited because they do it and they send letters. I'm not sure how they do on the background, but however, if another creditor buys your credit, for example, let's say you owe 50 from T-Mobile, you refuse, and ABC debt collector buys the credit, they want to collect it for T-Mobile, and then they can't because you don't want to pay. Now you hire this company, they help you remove that from your credit profile. If XYZ now buys the debt because it's not actually paid, nobody paid for it, it would come back on your credit.
Mm.
And that's what happens. So that's the quick fixes that you must avoid. Now, if you want to deal with your credit, of course, we always tell people the number one thing is not admitting to debt, but you do know it's yours. If you know it belongs to you, reach out, look through one of those apps. Credit Karma is one of the best recommendation I give. Call up the credit bureau or the credit company that owes your debt. Deal with them directly. Ask them if they will take settlement. The good thing about settlement is that you pay less, and then it shows that you've paid. But only do settlement if they're going to remove it from your credit.
Mm.
If you have to pay it off and then it doesn't show on your credit anymore with settlement, take it. But sometimes settlement will show as settlement and lender still wants you to pay your debt in full.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Anisha, you have a question? You can lower your hands and come on mic.
Yes, my question is, if you say don't admit the debt, if you're going to pay it, that means you're admitting it, right?
Not necessarily. There's a debt on my credit report. On my credit report, I've seen it. What are some of the best way I can pay for it? Because any word or any statement you make can be legally binding. Now, there are ways for you to have things removed off your credit, but if you admit to it and you don't pay for it, it could be a judgment against you and it can stay on your credit report as long as it needs to. It would not be removed.
Mm. So doesn't it stay on your credit report for like about 10 years, like a bad debt? Is that right?
7 is the statute of limitation.
7, okay.
Yes,
But if they sold the debt, then that starts all over again, does it?
it can.
You can't win in this country. All right. Giselle, how long does a home purchase time starts? What's the time frame of buying a home? 6 months, 3 months, 9 months?
No, it can take a year to find a house for sure,
Hmm.
but it can take a week to find a house as well.
Okay.
As soon as we got the house, usually within 45 days, we can close. Sometimes 30 days, depending on the bank. Between 30 and 45 days, we can close. You can be in your house. But you need to find the right house. This is what is taking time. As soon as we find a house and you have all the paperwork, within 45 days, you can be in your house.
Okay.
That's a realistic time frame also, because at Citadel, once you have a deadline to close, if if by chance we miss that deadline, we will pay you $5,000. And I've been told that we've never had to pay the $5,000. If a person's going to put down less than 20%, they're going to have PMI. And with PMI, that's going to be an additional insurance that you'll have to pay on a monthly basis. So, the whole process changes once you have more than 20% being put down. But you can start out with 3.5% and go from there.
Awesome.
And keep in mind, like I said, if a person is paying more than $1,200 a month for rent, there's a good possibility that they're about ready to become a homeowner. They just have to have some savings to make it happen. Because I'm talking to people that's paying $2,500, $2,900, $3,000 a month for rent, and it just hurts my heart to hear that.
Yes. Yes. All right, Alexa, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, just one more question.
That's fine.
When you want to buy a house and they look at your credit score, um, do they look at a specific kind of credit score, or do you have the option to pick whichever one is highest? Because I know, like, when I got my car, they had TransUnion and Equifax and stuff like that. So can you choose what credit score they look at, or
No, there are three credit bureaus. You have TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So anytime you're looking to purchase a house, we look at the middle of the three scores. So now let's say as you as an individual, there's three different scores. We're going to look at the middle score. If it's you and another person, we'll look at the middle score or the lowest of the two.
Okay.
But you don't have any choice in that matter.
All right. So I have a question for you, Giselle. What are some of how do we go about identifying a real estate agent?
That's why we're here.
Yes, you are it.
That's
But
why we're here. Look, like I said, it's been 14 years that I've been practicing real estate, and all my clients are referrals. I do have a website and Keller Williams and everything, but working with clients via referral. I bought a house for one person that went and talked to the cousin of the cousin. And this is, so I think that you do have the option as well to interview the people that you're going to work with and ask the questions. So when you ask questions, someone can interview you and interview me and think that, okay, I think I can work better with Giselle than working with Teresa because she answers my questions and, I feel more at ease with Giselle. So it's always better. I do not say that, because it's a referral, you just have to go with this person, but talk to the people, ask questions, and see where you can fit in.
awesome. Thank you. Zoom user, may I have your first name, please? You can lower your hand and ask the question.
Hi, yes, this is a follow-up question for Giselle. So if I have a low credit score, is it possible to still have a house? Like, what is the lowest credit score that I'm able to have? And if the credit score isn't high enough, then what are the next steps that I can take for that?
Oh, this is why I referred you to Isabel. Because when you come to me, I send you to Casey. Casey, check your credit score. He said, you need to go back to Isabel. She's going to help you with your credit score. She's going to work with you. If it's under 5, I think
580.
something like that. 580, yes, 580. She's going to work with you to tell you what you need to do. And then once it's up, she's going to send you back to Casey. And Casey's going to send me an email to say, okay, we can start looking this house because she's good to go. You see, that's a teamwork.
Awesome. Thank you.
If that middle score is at least 580, and basically you're making your payments on time, but you just have a low score, then it's possible that FHA will approve you also.
And that's where the 3% down payment comes in?
3.5% down. That's correct.
3.5% down. Okay. I got to look at that. But Isabel, I already know I have to come directly to you.
Okay.
All right. Anisha, go ahead with your question, hon.
I believe Giselle said that you need to interview your real estate agent. Well, what's the question to ask? Because if you're not familiar, you could be sitting there spinning tires.
I agree. When I talk about interviewing is where you feel more at ease. Because you can go to an agent and talk to the agent and you do not get any answer to your questions. Anything, you're worried, the process, all the document that you have to sign. Because no matter what, you know that, okay, we've been here, there is a minimum that, you need. Okay, I want to live, in Northeast, in West Philly, I want 5 bedrooms, but my worry is, so you do have question about the home buying process. And some people think that, no, I just need to sign a paper with you and get you going. I do not worry about your worry. I do not care about what you think. I just need to do it. I need my commission and leave. And this is not how it works. You need to care about the process. You need to care about providing excellent customer service, because these people are gonna buy a house, like Isabel said, is not like a penny or something that's, you work hard for your money and you want to invest in something. You're gonna live years, raise your kids for years in these houses. So you need to care about people. And sometimes you go to real estate agent and they do not care. You see that they do not care. I bought my house in 2006. The interest rate was 7% when I was buying my house in 2006. But why I became a real estate later is because my agent didn't care about, she was forcing me just to buy a house because she wanted the commission.
Dollar signs.
Right. So, I was hurt at the end. I bought the house, that's true, but I was hurt at the end. I'm like, no, this is not how you treat people. And this is why I became a real estate. But on top of that, I took some classes to be an expert, to provide you the best customer service that I can. If I don't know something, I go and make some research. Isabel said, you read, we read. I was in Pittsburgh for 3 days, Monday, Tuesday. I came back last night because I'm co-chairing the grievance committee, the professional standard committee. And you have to participate on activities to see how you can help the community, our community, to build generational wealth. And education is key, because we need to educate the community so they can make informed decisions.
Very good. And that's why we're here. We're building a cohort of homeowners. I'm going to be one, of course, because I'm ready to buy my own home now. So if you are, thank you. If you are interested in starting the process of owning your own home, we're going to have our first cohort of homeowners. If your credit is good and you're in good standing, then you just meet with Casey and start the process, get your pre-approval letter, then you start working with Giselle. If you need some help, like I do, then we will be in the cohort. We'll be working with Giselle. We give ourselves 6 to 9 months to get on the right track. And then we'll go to Casey and get our pre-approval letter and start looking for our own home. If you are interested in starting that process, please let us know. And we're going to send a follow-up email out with the information with the slides from Giselle and Isabel and Casey. And if you're ready to start looking for your home, speak to Casey, speak to Giselle, and then we'll get you started. The rest of us who need help, we'll get the help that we need from our friend Isabel, and we get on the right track. Because if we're renting, it means that we can afford to have our own home. We may not qualify for a $6,000 home, $600,000 home, but we may qualify for a $150,000 home. They are out there. You're paying rent. You can also pay a mortgage. Any
I
final
agree
words?
with you.
Yeah,
I totally
absolutely.
agree with you. There is a say that you cannot sleep on someone else's mattress. Even if it's a $200 home, it's your home.
It's yours.
You do whatever you want.
Absolutely. Any parting words before we depart? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys being here with us. It was really great, very informative, and I'm ready to get started. Isabel, any parting words before we end?
So I just want to say just a couple of things. I'll be really quick. I know Giselle mentioned earlier that we're in a weird time with the political environment. And I shared with you, when I first came here, things was kind of fairly easy. Things, it got worse and worse. And I have to be honest with you, no administration ever made it easy for immigrants. That's my honest opinion. I've been a student for 6 years before I graduate. It's never been easy for us. Till now, I'm on the path of citizenship. So it's been hard. But what made it easy was staying on course. One of the things that I like to tell everyone tonight is, you want result, lay a foundation to get to that result. We want result But we think money is the key. Money is not the key. Our goals are. So as long as we focus on our goal and focus to achieve our goals, we become unstoppable. That's why we're all here today. And let's keep those goals moving. We'll not only become homeowner, but we'll be strong advocate for generational wealth.
Thank you.
Well said.
Well,
Well said.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, I was late, so I want to ask this question. As an immigrant, what are the criteria to own a home? Because if you're an immigrant and you don't have the right status, can you own a home, or that would not be a safe idea?
it's not sure.
This is case by case. This is a case by case, and I think that she should talk to Casey.
Okay.
Being able to own a home, you do need your documentation. So whether you have you're a resident of Pennsylvania or you have other state-approved documentation, that's going to be important. And I provided my email address and my cell phone, and feel free to give me a call and we can talk, offline.
Okay.
I have a question,
Okay.
and I
Thank you.
think it's similar to the question that she was asking. So for I-10 holders, they're also able to obtain mortgages through your company?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as you have the proper documentation to be living in the state, then yes, you can be available.
What is
Mortgage
the
money can
proper
be available.
documentation?
Hmm?
What is the proper documentation?
That you're not illegal. And forgive me for being blunt, but if you have working papers, you have the ability to be here as and I don't know all the different categories, but as long as you have the ability to be here legally, yeah, you can apply for a mortgage.
Okay.
You need go
through
ahead,
your company?
through Citadel, Federal Credit Union.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're federal. Okay. Okay. That's why. Because
Yep.
there are institution that does give mortgages to undocumented folks as long as they're paying taxes and they have tax returns for 2 years.
Okay.
But all of the information that you've said before about savings and having a good credit score, they also have to have that. So I just wanted to know if your company offers mortgages to I-10 holders.
Now, why don't you send me an email personally and then we can talk further, okay?
All right, I'll definitely do that.
all right. Thank you, Jody. Any other questions before we go? Hearing none. I would like to thank you all for joining us this evening. There's going to be more information coming out. I have the link here to more information to visit us online at One Caribbean First-Time Homebuyers Workshop. And then you got an email out with all the shared presentations and your interest of going the next